name is Aaron McManus, and you were listening to the Battle Ready podcast. I'm here with my dad, Erwin Raphael McManus. It's good to have you today.
It's good to be here.
And you had an interesting weekend.
Yeah, but first, I heard you got a lot of heat from last week's podcast.
But first, I heard you were on a private jet.
No, let's have a little fight first.
No, I don't want to fight.
No.
I'm a man
People
of
getting
peace.
upset that you were disrespecting me, that you coming in a little too hot, that you're not
yeah.
letting me talk.
Yeah, someone on the YouTube comments, yeah, we do read the YouTube comments. This guy bullies his dad. You know what? I have a name. My name deserves to be said. And unlike Will Smith, I'd like you to use my name in your mouth.
Oh.
Call me by my name.
All right. So, Aaron, let me tell you why.
Let me read the
let
full.
me tell you
hold
why
on,
you
let
can't.
me,
All right,
let me
go
read
ahead.
the full diss track.
Let me talk.
This guy bullied.
Get him!
I'm not looking at you right now. This guy bullies his dad. He's walking on eggshells around him, trying not to get a verbal whooping for his comments. This was more spotlight on that than the Will Smith story. Your dad won't be around forever, and you'll kick yourself thinking how much you silenced him. Just let him be. He is very intelligent, and we really wanted to hear what he wanted to say.
Well, first of all, thank you for part
If
of
you
it.
thank her, I'm going to be so mad. You can't thank her.
Well, let me tell you why he can't bully me. Because I am not a victim.
You a victim.
and I'm not a hobbit. and so I cannot be bullied, and I can't even be physically bullied. I certainly cannot be intellectually bullied. But it's a great compliment to you, Aaron. If you are bullying me, it means you are my intellectual superior.
If anyone thinks I'm even intellectually equal to you, I'm playing at a handicap. Are you kidding me?
But sometimes you don't let me answer, but most of the time the heat comes because you're trying to get an answer and I'm avoiding the answer.
100%.
So let me give you a little backstory.
You a runner, you a track star.
So when Aaron said, was Chris Rock's joke wrong? Let me tell you why he didn't answer it.
Why you didn't answer it. Why you wouldn't give a yes or no answer.
I didn't answer
and then
it.
Brooke asks you one question and you're like, you know what, Brooke? Yes. And that's how I knew there was a vendetta.
But
there was a personal vendetta.
Shave your head, Aaron.
against what?
V for vendetta, Aaron.
Ooh. And I didn't answer the question because I immediately started thinking about all the people who have what's that disease? Alopecia going, you're not being sensitive to us. So I have this radar in my head that's always thinking about the person who will be most offended. I can't help it. And so the moment I hear a question, I start thinking, what's the exception? What's the exception? What's the exception? But the rule was there was nothing wrong with Chris Rock's joke. And I'm going to say this, you asked the right question. I should have had the courage to answer it. I was a coward and I did not give you the answer you deserved.
You're not a coward for not wanting to answer about Chris Rock. You're not.
Because
you a victim. Watch this video.
I'm super high fire. You're a victim.
Wait.
Yesterday I put ketchup over all my fries. Today I dipped them.
And so I want to thank you for always pressing, for not relenting. I don't see you as a bully, but sometimes you are so intense.
Are you sure?
And I wouldn't mind you pausing to listen
A little more.
a little bit more.
Like in that moment.
Like in that moment. Because what I was going to say about context was thoughtful, insightful, and helpful.
I didn't want context. I want controversy.
No, a trifecta of context.
And then I got a little heated. I got a little upset, and that made you heated. And I don't know how much of it we edited out.
We edited out a good deal.
Because they only heard you, quote, be disrespectful. They didn't hear me.
Oh no, they heard. He kept that part in. He called when you called me. I'm gonna boy-splain this to you.
They kept that in?
Yeah,
You kept that in? Austin, man.
he did.
I should
He
have
did.
said that.
He did. And people were commenting, laughing about it.
See, because I used to be a verbal assassin.
Mm.
When I was younger, I used words to cut people into pieces. And
You're like the chef from Benihana.
I was
Throwing
slicing
shrimp in
and
his hat.
dicing. And I realized one day that my tongue was used to be destructive rather than to actually be constructive.
Hmm.
I took discipline over my words,
Hmm.
which is why now, generations later, centuries later, I have an incredible control over the words I say, even when I'm really angry.
Hmm. You a victim.
but I didn't catch you. All right. So then you're going to harass me about what I did over this weekend.
Yeah, so, I get a little phone call from you guys. Hey, would you watch the dog? You house sit. I never am at my house. Between you and Mariah and my other friends, Felipe and Anna, I'm always house sitting.
That's nice.
It is nice, but
Yeah.
I have a house. It's a little one, but it's a house. I'd like to sleep there sometimes.
Well, you took care of our house.
I took care of your house over the
Thatcher,
weekend.
Our dog.
You didn't quite tell me what you were doing. You told me where you were going. You told me who you were hanging out with. Didn't realize you and the boys were jumping in the PJ and just heading over to West Palm Beach or some place and then just hanging out on the ocean.
Well, your mom, my wife, Kim, she actually went to North Carolina and then went down to Jacksonville and then went down to meet us in Fort Lauderdale. So she, was flying whatever, United or whatever it was. But I was going to catch a flight to Fort Lauderdale to the birthday of a really dear friend, Joel Marion,
Right.
whom I love. And
Yeah.
I've never really been to a destination birthday party. I can't remember the last time I've almost been to a birthday party, hardly. And so I was about to go, but then these friends also got invited, and they have they fly private.
They have a plane. Don't be shy. Man.
And so
And
they said, do you want to fly with us? And I said, yeah.
And normally you never post about it.
No, and I gotta be honest, when I got on the plane,
Yeah.
it was just me and one of
You're like
my friends.
best friend, one of your best friends.
Yeah, and I got on the plane and I said, I know I should be, but I'm so excited. So it wasn't like, it's not the way I roll, okay? So I said, I'm so excited. He goes, why shouldn't you be? And he starts talking about the plane. He's excited.
He's excited.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't normally post about
I
it,
never
but then
post
you were on
about
the plane on the way back with like Mel Robbins and Ed Millette and Jamie Lima and all these people,
Yeah.
and they were posting about it.
Right. I would have never posted.
And I'm with my friends at a dinner, and I'm like, okay, my man is on the plane, and just deep in it conversations with all these amazing people, and I'm screenshotting, laughing because I'm like, you would never post this.
I would never have posted it. I live a very, very private life in many ways. And a lot of times I don't want people to miss
Apparently, very private jet life.
Oh.
Apparently, the controversy. No,
Because haters are just always looking for a reason to hate.
did anyone hate on you on this?
I don't know because I didn't pay attention.
I'm sure they will.
But when I saw their stories being posted and I realized, okay, I'm in these stories, so,
yeah.
I might as well repost them. And they are my friends and I love them. And
Right.
I felt honored to be together. And we did have like a 5-hour mastermind session on an airplane,
It's
which
insane.
was incredible. I mean, I have
Are
some
there-
of the greatest minds in the business world there
Yes.
with Mel Robbins and Jamie Lima and Ed Milet and Paulo Lima. And, and so I'm there, I guess I'm D'Artagnan because I wasn't one of the three musketeers.
Hey, you're the one the movie's about, though. So
and it was so much fun. It was incredible. So yes, I did post, and I
did you
had
feel
someone-
weird about posting?
I did.
Why?
See, and that's why I posted it.
I felt mad. I felt jealous.
No, there's a reason I reposted it. Because I felt something inside of me that said, you don't feel permission to get to do this. You don't feel permission to get to live this large.
Yeah.
And then another voice saying, but you've made choices in your life and invested in people in your life where this is your life. And you shouldn't be ashamed, embarrassed, or apologetic about your life. So I posted it because of a couple of things. I wanted to break the psychological hold in my brain that says I'm supposed to live less so that people like me more.
Right. Yeah.
And that was part of the reason I posted it.
Yeah.
I wanted to get comfortable with success. I wanted to get comfortable with living a life bigger than I ever imagined.
Yeah.
And then also, I wanted people to realize that life is really limitless if you are not held and anchored down by like fear and insecurity and uncertainty. And if you're willing to pay the price and work hard and discipline yourself and invest in people and build into people's lives, it's amazing the doors that open up. And
yeah, it was actually really cool.
A celebration of the people in my life.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I want to be there. I would like to be celebrated with you. I would like to celebrate you there. I'll sit with the stewardess or the steward. I had a really amazing conversation with a woman over the weekend. She dates my friend, and we were doing a little going away dinner on I think Saturday night. And she is Muslim from Syria, but grew up in Paris. And we had a fascinating conversation and about, the perception of Islam in the Western world, her growing up in Paris, and the acceptance or lack thereof of the French people to the Islamic world. But because she's light-skinned and blue-eyed and looks, she could go for anywhere, Iberian, or she could go, Israeli. Like she speaks 4 different languages. Like she has all of this kind of influx. And we were talking about this idea, and I got to explain to her a bit of like our heritage and like where we came from and how we kind of came from the hood, or like by choice. You were working in the inner city, and then how Mosaic's progressed, and then the business side, and then all the different things that we're getting to do. It was actually really, really interesting. She worked for a think tank in DC that sent her over to Syria and Lebanon to like study the ramifications of the wars in Lebanon and Syria to the Syrian people. And it was like fascinating conversation. And I was looking at my phone, happened to be, I was like, you on a plane. And I was like, to think that what you built is really beautiful. And we're only at the beginning of the building, I feel like. And so to have those moments of reprieve where you get to fly private or do something really silly that's fun. And it isn't about that, but it's cool that you get to have a moment. And I feel like a lot of people live in this fear of, well, one, if you're a pastor as well, that you can't have a nice life, because it's seen as opulent and it's seen as like detrimental to the faith or to the church, or it's seen as like wasteful. But I also do think that it's like you're not singularly a pastor. You're also you're a follower of Jesus, and then you're also a business person. You're also a consultant. You're also friends with these really incredible people who love you for all the different things that you do. And it was exciting as like a son to hear you talk about the conversations that you had in Florida and the way people complimented you, spoke of you. As like a son, I'm proud. As a bully, just here to remind you, that we're in a 10x10 office with 2 lights. Not a real studio. No, what were you gonna say? I'm happy for you. And it was cool to show my friend. I was laughing because I was like, it's cool to see I was like, look at where God's taken us. Would have never thought.
Yeah, so I'm going to say something probably controversial.
Sure.
A lot of people think,
I'm like, sure,
like
please do.
When someone's a pastor, they go, oh, why does he have this? Or why do they, do that? Or, and I'm just going to say this. I've always had the capacity to make billions of dollars. I've never been in doubt. I've always known I have the capacity to make billions of dollars. I always chose not to. And it made my primary focus building into people, connecting people in relationships to Jesus Christ, and building the church. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to not use that talent all my life.
Yeah.
And so a part of it is I'm 63.
Yeah.
And I've been a follower of Jesus since I was 20. I've invested 4 decades of my life to the church. But I love the challenge of working with the greatest minds, the greatest leaders, the greatest business people, the most influential individuals in the world, and building into their lives, helping them come into a relationship with Jesus, helping them increase their capacity, and then call them to live lives that do a great deal of good. And unfortunately, modern Christianity is such a judgmental space that if you actually have any level of, let's say, top tier talent or gifting, you're indicted if you optimize that. We need to change the culture. Pastors and Christians should not have to live beneath their potential and capacity.
It was interesting. I was having this conversation because I had the Battle Ready phone on for the last week.
The bat phone?
The bat phone. People started calling it the bat phone, which just made me giddy on another level. But yeah, and I was talking to this person. I didn't realize that random people were texting me. Also, the etiquette of the bat phone is tell me who you are and where you're from. Some people were like, "Hey, what's up?" I was like, "Yo, what's up?"
I hate when someone calls me and says, "What are you doing?" And I'm going, "Are you here to manage my life?"
Or like, "Who is this? Who are you first?" But it was interesting. Lots of great conversations. I have 50 missed calls I got to call back. I'm gonna keep it on for another week just to call people back. But I had this conversation with this young person, and I think she ended up asking a question about women in ministry. So I was like, "Hey, I can't tell you anything about that." So I gave it to Mariah, and Mariah responded, "No, it's a different person." Someone said something about they didn't like how we talked about, one piece of feedback I've been getting about the masterclass, or why are we charging for God's revelations in your life? If God gave you these ideas, why are you charging for the ideas God's given you? It was so interesting to me because
wow, because if you really believe God gave them to me, then I should probably charge more.
No.
Because I've been given a stewardship.
Right, but let's take it all the way over, right? I just said, the response was, so do you think iPhones should be free? Right?
Yeah.
So you're more willing to pay someone who may or may not believe in God, but creates a product, calls it Apple, with a bite out of it.
Eve.
Right?
Yeah.
Uses literally biblical
imagery of the fall of man.
Yes. And then sells it to you for $1,000, but should that be free? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Am I making my point here?
Oh, no, absolutely. Because in fact, the scripture says that every good and perfect gift comes from above, from the Father of heavenly lights.
Right.
And so that means every good thing in the world comes from God. So if you have a great idea, it's God inspired. You know
what you get for free from God? You can open your Bible and read it for free. And even then, you got to pay to get the Bible. That's the other funny thing. People don't realize the Bible is actually owned by publishing companies.
Yeah, the NIV is owned by a publishing company. You cannot reprint it. You cannot
you get
reproduce
they'll
it.
sue the pants off you.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to give away Bibles for free, like any church does, Mosaic does, you have to pay for those Bibles.
Yeah, people
get them for free.
Yeah, why are you giving the Bible for free? Yeah, I know. Why don't you give the Bible away for free? Because we have to buy it.
Yes.
And, yeah, it's not for free.
It's not. So it was interesting having to explain that to her. I think she received it well. She still didn't agree. And then I realized, you're at the beginning of your journey. I don't care if you agree. You need to listen and you need to learn.
Yeah.
Why are organizations run like businesses? And I was like, they have to be run better than businesses, because businesses only have to make money. We have to make money and be good people and help people's lives.
Yeah, but it's almost like you're in a catch-22 if you're a pastor. You shouldn't ask for money and you shouldn't go make money.
You're supposed to be poor.
So which one do you want? Do you want pastors who are always asking people for money and, quote, living off the church? Or do you want pastors who have enough entrepreneurial talent and skill and discipline to go create wealth and make money so they're not a burden on the church?
Yeah.
And I mean, Paul was a tent maker. No one came up to him and said, why are you making tents? Why are you selling tents? Why aren't you giving your tents away? And,
it's crazy. And the era is ending. The era is ending of everything's free.
Well, I've realized I created a culture of ungratefulness. Now, I had a consultant explain to me that the reason other people could sell their products is because they always sold their products.
Interesting.
And they said to me, you've given everything away for 40 years. So the moment you move to selling something, people will feel offended.
So how do you break that? How do you compare that to like Gary Vee's whole structure? Or whole concept is I give everything away for free on all of my social media platforms, and I only charge for this, and this.
Because he does charge for this.
So
and
you have
this.
to create the back end where you're going like, this is what I charge for. If you want access, if you want a relationship, if you want more
And what I would
in-depth
say
niche
is
information.
Gary Vee has never in his entire life given away as much as I've given away.
No, I'm not saying he has. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just asking. It's a different ideology because he
Yeah.
would say he look on the positive side. I've given so much away for free.
Yeah.
But you know what the funny thing is he's always reminding people he gives away for free. My name's Gary Vee, and I give away for free. Like he always is reminding people. I think pastors don't do a good enough job about reminding people, like, "Hey, broke boys, we're getting this for free.
Hey, broke boys.
Hey, broke boys,
Yeah.
getting this for free, brother."
I just think they see, people see pastors as beggars. And maybe the generation where pastors are funded by the church can be replaced by a generation where pastors actually develop skills, talents, and abilities that create wealth so they can actually volunteer their time in the church.
My thing is, I
'Cause
completely
I love that relationship way better.
completely agree with that. I do think that when you're a young person and you make a lot of money and you go to a church, why would you not go to church if you want to be invested in?
Mm-hmm.
You want to have a free mentor? Go to church on Sundays.
Yeah.
You are learning so much about life, principles, how to have good character, how to interact with humanity, how to have a better spiritual life.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go and kill it, but when you go and do it, give back to the person and to the people that help you do it.
Yeah.
And and then you don't have to ever ask for money. Pastors should never have to ask for money.
Well, I remember one time there was this guy, I think he would come in a Rolls Royce. And he was never one of the givers at Mosaic.
Right.
He would just come.
Right.
And one day he grabbed me in the parking lot. He goes, "Hey, I just got to tell you something." And I said, "What?" And he introduced himself. And I realized, oh, that's his car. And he said, "I pay Tony Robbins $1 million to mentor me.
Oh.
And I come and get everything that you give for free. And what I get from you has more value. You just don't even know you're supposed to be charging."
It's crazy.
And that's the
But
thing
he
is that
probably values Tony Robbins more because he gives him the $1 million. So he has to extract every last cent out of that, right?
No, yeah. And what actually other people help me see is because you get for free, people treat it like it's for free.
Right.
So I've had two people, and I think I could actually say their names. And one of them is John Gordon. He says, whenever he does a free event, the people going to the free event are so high maintenance. They complain about everything and they're never satisfied. When he does an event that costs a lot of money, they don't have a single complaint and everyone's low maintenance. And I had another speaker, I think they were, actually it was, if you ever heard of Grant Cardone.
Yeah. We were talking about him earlier.
He just did an event, and evidently at that event, he gave away a huge number of the seats in that room.
Yeah.
The people who he gave the seats to, most of them
Yeah.
did not show up.
Wow.
But everyone who paid was in their seat.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
And that's I think part of the reason people don't grow spiritually, to be frank.
Yeah.
Like people who tithe and give beyond that, they're actually postured for growth.
Yeah.
It's the people who go to church who never give, and I don't mean like just drop a little change. It's the people who go, but they're not committed to tithing and beyond.
Yeah.
They're not postured for growth. And then they wonder, why doesn't church help me? And it's because you treat things that you think are for free as if they have no worth.
It's interesting. Okay, so we want to get into the meat of this.
Okay. I think this has been important, though.
No,
I think we need to change people's minds and liberate pastors and people who really want to do good in the world from the oppressive view that they're not allowed to create wealth if they're capable of doing that.
Okay, so let's break down. I mean, if there's anything we could talk about today, I mean, other than Elon bought 9% of Twitter, Ukrainian president was at the Grammys via video, like live video, and
Yeah, but we don't want to overlook this. But the most important thing has happened this weekend. The University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill
yes,
defeated the Duke Blue Devils. The Tar
Right.
Heels brought down Coach K.
right,
And I just want to be clear that this was the trifecta. This was the hat trick. When Coach K became the coach of the Blue Devils in 1980, when I was a student, at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. When I was there as a Tar Heel, Coach K lost his first college game to the Tar Heels.
Wow.
And then he lost his last game in Cameron Stadium to the Tar Heels.
So crazy.
His last game at home was lost to Chapel Hill. And then the last game of his career in the Final Four, the only time in his history that Duke and Carolina met in the tournament, the Tar Heels defeated him again. The perfect trifecta. I love Coach K, but I just love that we imprinted our logo on his soul.
Dang. That was deeply personal. Are you okay?
We're big. No. He started Coach K, but he finished Coach KO.
That's messed up. I hate Duke. I hate the Blue Devils, and I hate you, Coach K.
No, I love
like
Coach K.
Not like a biblical hate. Like I don't hate you as a person.
Hate him because he's so good.
No, I hate him because he's a traitor. He's on the opposite team. He's a traitor. He's not a part of us. What else do you want to talk about?
Well, I do want to talk a little bit about meeting expectations and under-promising and over-delivering.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because we launched The Art of Communication.
Yes.
6 hours and 15 minutes of intensive mentoring on communication.
Yes. Are you doing a commercial right now?
No. And then we said we would do one live Q&A
yes,
as an added bonus to anyone who purchased The Art of Communication.
Right.
But we didn't tell them. See, this is what I love. I love doing more than people could ever expect.
Talk to me.
We are going to do 10 weeks in a row live Q&A around The Art of Communication every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And
it actually starts tomorrow. So when this episode comes out, it's starting on Tuesday.
Yeah, it starts.
So nice.
Yeah, it starts on Tuesday. And here's the beautiful thing about it is that we've had some people who actually have now come in at the $3,000 price point.
Yeah, it's not it's $3,300. I think.
No, it's $29.95, right?
No. Well, yeah.
How much?
$29.95 plus tax.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's $29.95 plus tax. So if you bought it early, you bought it without the tax.
We paid your taxes if you bought it early.
Yes.
But now you have to pay your own taxes.
Yeah. So it's $32.90 or something. Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, when you're looking at going, wow, is it worth $3,000? I can tell you, getting 10 sessions live where
you're answering questions.
Answering the direct questions of the people who are going through this process, that by itself is worth the tuition than the price for the course.
So we've been brainstorming what this 10-week situation is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the net value on this is just it's insane. It's insane. What it costs people to sit down with you for an hour to do 10 of those.
Yeah.
But 10 of them on specific content going into the niche of communication is so spectacular.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about the arena, and I actually have a pastor who submitted a talk who wants you to just rip it to shreds. Did I tell you this?
No, I did not know this.
So Columbus, Ohio, this guy named Todd, he's awesome. He FaceTimed me, and it was the first FaceTime of that, I think it was Monday morning of last week. And we ended up just talking for 20 minutes. We just got along. And he was like, hey, I know you guys mentioned this gladiator arena situation where Erwin just rips a message to shred. He's like, can I submit for that? I said, yes, you have to submit 2 messages. One that's you think your best message, and then you're maybe your worst message. So we can kind of
that's
attack. Yeah. And I told him, I was like, are you sure you want this? It's not going to be enjoyable. This is going to be unenjoyable for you unless you have just, nerves of steel. He's like, no, I would love it. Could I sign up for it? So that's going to be.
He already has the Art of Communication?
So he already bought Art of Communication.
Okay, wow.
So he was just asking questions like, hey, could I submit to be one of the messages that gets?
Well, maybe we'll do that in one of the 10 weeks.
We're definitely going to do it, right?
Yeah.
You're going to watch you're going to pull up clips of the message and then break down what's wrong with the message.
I'm also going to have my team who does it here for us to look at it too.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a holistic 360 kind of experience for someone.
It's going to be a bloodbath.
And
it's going to be a psychological thriller.
It's going to be an autopsy on a living thing.
Grown men will cry.
And yeah. but it's okay for a grown man to cry.
In a soft world that we live in, yes.
And one of the questions, I remember we were at dinner at the Soho House in
Where were we?
it's Soho, New York.
Okay.
Oh, Soho Grand.
Soho Grand. the
So we
hotel.
were at the Soho Grand in Soho, New York,
Uh-huh.
and we were there with a couple of people that you knew, and then I also came to know. One of them was named Josh, and he said to me, "How did you develop such an extensive vocabulary?"
Yeah.
And I said to him, "Why would you call it extensive? What words am I using that are that unexpected or unusual?" I said, "Think through my message, my talk. Tell me the words that you didn't know."
Okay.
They couldn't think of a single word.
That's crazy. It's
And-
crazy.
And people perceive me to have an extensive vocabulary, which I do. I just never use it on stage.
yeah.
But what I do use is I use a textured language.
Right.
So I thought, even though we're in battle ready, maybe I'll do a little glimpse of what I'll do in like some of these Q&As.
Sure.
I wanted to take a moment and answer Josh's question from 5 years ago and go, a part of the way that you develop, quote, an extensive language, it isn't about learning big words. Big words are for people who pretend they understand a subject.
Okay.
And so when a person communicates something and it's incredibly complicated, you know they don't understand it.
Okay.
Real genius is taking profound and complicated concepts and making them so simple that everyone can get them, and it explodes inside of their soul.
So one thing I find when I talk to like the business guys
Mhm.
and sales guys, they use a lot of abbreviations. And I just put that in the bucket of like stuff I don't care about.
Yeah.
So why, but I feel like, whether it's pastors or business guys, sales guys or CEOs or whoever, super niche tech people,
Yeah.
why is it that we feel like we have to use an insider language? Every culture has it.
Yeah, I mean, because those crypto guys, all these abbreviations, you don't even know what they're talking about.
No.
But
Absolutely not.
the Christian abbreviations are the devil. That's
Yeah.
that's a Christian
Yeah,
abbreviation.
but yeah.
That
No, it's like it's kingdom culture. It's I don't even want to talk about it because it irks me, and that's why I don't say these words. I don't say these words
yeah.
because I don't live in the Harry
They're
Potter
just
world.
there are all these phrases in the Christian world that are catchphrases that are supposed to evoke certain emotions and responses from people,
Right.
and they're shortcuts to actual meaning. Like when you say, "I've been saved," there's nobody in the room who doesn't know Jesus who will understand what that means in any way. Saved from what?
No,
Saved from who?
no, there's tons of rooms. Tons of people in tons of rooms will understand it.
Yeah, I'm saying that doesn't know Jesus.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well,
and-
most people aren't communicating to people who don't know God.
but they think they are.
they hope they are.
Yeah.
Right.
And so here's the way I create an extensive vocabulary. I create universes of language.
Okay.
Let me explain. Like, if there's a subject that you care a lot about, then mind map that subject and
Give me
find.
an example. Build one right now.
Okay. So I care about leadership.
Go more specific.
No. I care about leadership. So I'm going to talk
Okay.
a lot about leadership.
Okay.
So then I find a lot of words that describe a leader: pioneer, adventure, entrepreneur, groundbreaker.
Okay.
And so I could probably take and create a universe of 50 different words that could replace the word leader.
Okay.
And each one of those words has its own nuance.
Okay.
So the more you understand a subject, the more language you have to explain it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
So if you
So
don't
find other ways to describe it.
Yeah. So if you don't, if you don't know cooking, you might say, "Hey, throw some spices in there."
Right.
But a person who's actually a chef would go, "Well, which spices?"
Right.
And you go, name every spice you can think of right now.
What? Me?
Yeah, you.
No. Brooke.
No, come on.
No, I don't want to.
All right, Brooke. Austin, name every spice. Come on, in 10 seconds.
Spice,
Spice.
I don't-
tarragon, thyme, paprika, turmeric, onion powder, garlic powder,
Salt, pepper.
Thank
salt,
you,
pepper.
Austin.
Cardamom? I don't know.
cardamom. That's great.
All right, so
Split the
do
difference.
you cook a lot, Brooke?
I try.
Because you actually had some really nice responses.
Oh, thank you.
And Austin, you don't cook very much, do you?
No, I do. I just saw that she was missing a couple very obvious ones.
I gotta be like that.
Salt and pepper. okay. You're helping her out with the basics. All right. Yeah. And so the more you cook, the more spices you can name.
Yes.
And what happens is when you create a universe of words around a particular idea, truth, a topic, theme, it textures how people respond to you. It keeps it more interesting, but it also builds your credibility because it's clear you know a lot more about the subject.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think is really important if you want to build your communication skill is to realize everyone has certain themes that they talk about a lot.
Like what?
Well, it depends on the person. Some people
You
always
just use you.
My core theme is about living a heroic life.
Okay.
And so I'm always going to find some way to talk about living your most heroic life.
Give me an example.
Well, no. So, but the example would be it makes sense that I've read every mythology book in the library.
Okay.
that-
But what's the example of a heroic life?
King David would be a person who has lived a heroic life. But then,
Okay.
but then there's so many others. Then in the Bible, I'll show you how Joseph, who we know very little about, how he also lived a heroic life, showing
Okay.
up when he could have walked away.
Okay.
And so I see everybody's story in some way.
So you kind of find
heroic
these common
filter.
denominators through these different characters.
Yeah.
The subject matter that you're looking at.
And you see it everywhere in the world.
Okay,
It's just, you
interesting.
start seeing it all around you. You start seeing heroism every day, or the opportunities for it where people didn't step into it.
Okay.
And, but a lot of people, like maybe their themes are, we're all broken and we need to be healed.
Okay.
And so then their language becomes a very therapeutic language.
Yeah.
And so if you pay attention to where you have more words, those are your themes. And if you ever listen to someone who loves like film,
Right.
they just know how to break down all the different nuances to the point where it might even bore you to death.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And one of the things I just want to encourage people who are trying to become better communicators are, don't just have one word that describes the thing. Don't have just one word that describes courage. Have 10 different words, 20 that would describe courage. If you're talking about integrity, don't just have, they just keep saying the word integrity.
Right.
Think of a universe of words that describe what you're trying to talk about.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. The universe of language.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. Okay.
And-
That's enough. No more free stuff right now. No more free stuff. We have a few minutes to wrap this thing up and
All right.
and land this plane. I'm really excited. I like this. So what you're saying is basically, if you haven't gotten the art of communication yet, you need to get it. Jump on this. You're gonna be a part of a 10-week. Well, I guess by the time they hear this, it'll be a part of a 9-week Q&A.
And the longer you wait, the fewer live sessions there will be.
Yes, but you will get access to the recordings of those live sessions.
Will they really?
They will, which is really, really amazing.
Wow,
So
we're
that's,
being incredibly generous.
I think so. But it's also an
Yeah.
expensive price
And
point.
we
So I
wanna
want
help
people.
people.
It's a high
Yeah.
price point. I want people to get their money's worth.
Yeah.
I
And
think they will.
And a huge part of what I really feel more and more convicted about and convinced of is that the high price point assures that people who go through it will most likely grow from it, because you have to be committed to it to jump in.
One thing you noticed was that there wasn't that many pastors.
I was
It was
really
mostly business people.
I was disheartened.
Why? Talk to me about that.
I mean, I care about business people. I care about entrepreneurs. I care about people in other mediums, but I really do care about pastors.
No, I know you do.
And I love pastors. And when I saw almost no pastors signed up,
It's not almost no. There's lots of pastors.
are there?
It just got overwhelmed with business people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Percentage-wise, it's low.
It's lower.
And I think sometimes it's the poverty mindset that pastors have.
Yeah.
And people were saying I can't afford it before we even announced the price.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Their initial posture was that
Yeah.
they knew they couldn't afford it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's interesting. You live your life. You know what? I was really excited. Who was the first guy that bought it?
He's from El Salvador and grew up in LA.
Bradley, the one who got it.
The one who got early.
Oh,
What was
no,
his
that's a
name?
different guy.
I believe Bradley Lawson.
Yeah.
Bradley Lawson, you sneaky badger. How you got in, I have no idea. We got to get him. Can we reach out to him and get
Yeah.
him on and talk to him at some point?
That would be so fun. That's right. Bradley was the one who went in rogue.
He found out how to access the website early, bought it. He was the first one to buy it before we even launched it. Bradley Lawson.
And the first legal one, official one, was a young guy who grew up in LA, but he's actually Salvadorian, lives in Northern California.
So
he's
cool.
a youth pastor, and he made a huge investment. in himself. And then the second one I noticed was a guy from Scotland.
It was like third. That's like going third or fourth now. Yeah. Yep. Scottish guy. I FaceTimed with him as well.
And so it's just very exciting. But
People from around the world.
But I
It's
also
really
think
cool.
that sometimes pastors think that, I guess preaching is supposed to be just an anointing or a gift, rather than a craft and an art that you're supposed to develop. And frankly, even if you have a gift, it still needs to become a craft.
Yeah.
You have to refine that gift. You have to invest in yourself. And when you invest in your communication skills, you are actually investing in everyone who has to hear you every single week.
So do them a favor. I do have a question. So you were surprised that not as many pastors signed up as you would like. A couple people hit us up, and we hit them back with, here's the link, you can buy it. Don't ask for free things. Invest in yourself. And some people got frustrated that we kept saying invest in yourself. That saying that like if you don't have the money, you can't invest yourself. It's that meaning that you don't want to invest in yourself. We're not saying that you don't want to invest in yourself. We're just saying you have to see it as an investment in yourself.
Yeah.
And I do think a lot of pastors have created a space for themselves where they're so locked in so they'll never learn again. They don't see the world with fresh eyes. And so you see that and you hear that in their communication ability.
Yeah.
And this is something that genuinely will unlock their abilities to see the world in a new way, see the scriptures in a new way, see communication in a new way. And I'm excited about it. I'm proud of you. This was hard. Our team killed it.
You guys worked so hard.
You did so well.
What has shocked me is that I've never been able to sell anything comfortably in my life, and this is easy. I really believe in this.
Yeah.
And I believe in it so much because I've spent my life developing the capacity to give this away in this way.
Right.
And I just have a deep sense that we're going to have a movement of great communicators come out of this.
I love it. I'm so excited.
Me too.
What did we talk about today, Brooke? What did we talk about?
You talked about a lot of different things. Spices, broke boys, how to make money and be good people, the art of communication.
Stop Bullying Me should be our title.
Stop bullying me.
But we can't bully you. You said physically or otherwise.
Bullies got to go, apparently. Okay. So we're going to call this Private Jet. This episode, Private Jet.
Oh my gosh.
Private conversation on a private jet. Thank you for listening to this podcast. For every single person who listens each and every week or once a month or however much you listen to, thank you so much. We are so grateful for you. Go right now and hit subscribe on Spotify and hit follow and rate and review this on Spotify right now. Do this on YouTube. You can like it. You can subscribe to it. We have our own YouTube channel. All the links are in the bio on our Instagram. Follow the Instagram and rate and review this on Apple Podcast. We are so grateful for you guys. We love you. Leave a comment. Hit the bat phone. We will see you next week.
All right, here we go.